सन्तु मे देव सदा त्वदीयाः
दयातरङ्गानुचराः कटाक्षाः
दयातरङ्गानुचराकटाक्षाः
श्रोत्रेषु पुंसाममृतं क्षरन्तीं
श्रोत्रेषु पुंसाममृतं क्षरन्तीं
सरस्वतीं संश्रितकामधेनुं
सरस्वतीं संश्रितकामधेनुम्
ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः
ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः
शृणुयाम देवाः
शृणुयाम देवाः
भद्रं पश्येम
भद्रं पश्येम
अक्षभिर्यजत्राः
अक्षभिर्यजत्राः
स्थिरैरङ्गैः
स्थिरैरङ्गैः
तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः
तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः
व्यसेम देवहितं यदायुः
व्यसेम देवहितं यदायुः
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ Welcome back everyone. We are discussing Ksheerasagara Mathanam. So in the preamble of the story, Durvasa encountered with Devas some unpleasant experience for Durvasa, which created a huge problem for Devas. They got beaten down by Asuras and they were not getting up when they were beaten up like that. And then they all went to Brahma, Lord Brahma. They all went to Lord Bhava. After that, they all went to Lord Bhava. They took Lord Bhava and went to Lord Narayana, and Lord Narayana gave the solution, how to deal with it. So, what is Durvasa? Can anybody articulate what is Durvasa in real life for us? Yeah?
We live in a very pleasant situation. It's like more or less a peaceful time of the year. There is no whatsoever turbulence. Everything is going as expected and there are no significant hardships. All of this peace is going, but then suddenly some difficulty comes and disrupts your trend line of peace. And then you now have to drag back your senses, put your adversity coefficient back into action.
Right. You want to say something? Durvasa?
Yeah. Durvasa is basically like something that breaks the illusion, rips up the illusion, and it leaves the light there. It's either you choose to use the light to your advantage or say, oh, it's too sunny, I need a shade.
Okay. Anybody else? So basically, Durvasa is a rip in our illusion. We have created so many illusions and we are deluded that we are living happily. And whenever there is a rip, it is not made by us, it is sent by divine. So there is a rip which opens up an opportunity to see light. Only if you see light, that rip is basically Durvasa. Otherwise it is not. It's a problem. It's a terrible problem. If we succumb and fall to it, it's a terrible problem. So anyway, we will again bring all this later at some point of time. So then they all went to Brahma, and along with Brahma they went to Bhava, and with Bhava they went to Narayana. What does that mean? It means that they sought counsel, they sought advice. Brahma means Veda. Brahma also means Omkara. When we say Om, it has another name, Brahma. And Lord Brahma, who has 4 heads, is a representation of 4 Vedas. There are 4 Vedas, right? Rik, Yajus, Sama, Adharva. So all the 4 Vedas are personified and represented by Lord Brahma. So that means Devas went to take counsel with Vedas. And they also went to Lord Bhava So I said Lord Bhava. Remember that word Lord Bhava. Who is Lord Bhava?
Shiva.
Shiva only. But he has another name, Bhava. Sometimes we hear the word Bhavarogam, Bhavasagaram. Bhavasagaram is kind of negative, bad. Bhavarogam is some kind of negative word. Why did they give that negative term to Lord Shiva? So when we are actually taking the names of God, they have significant meaning. Lord Shiva is one aspect of the divine. Bhava is a different aspect of the divine. So this entire universe that we see is pure and blemishless, faultless awareness in reality. But we don't see it that way. We see trees, we see ugliness, we see beauty, we see all kinds of things. Like when you go to a movie, there is a white screen, clean, blemishless white screen. But the moment the movie plays, what happens? You will see everything. You see all colors. You see hero, heroine dancing and villain fighting, murders happening, all kinds of bad and everything happens on it. But in reality, what is it?
Clear screen.
It is clean screen. So in the same way, this universe is pure Brahman. But on this, a great movie is playing. But we fools think that it is all really a hero is up there on the screen. Can a hero get onto screen? Can a heroine get onto screen? Can they sing a song on the screen? They are at their respective places. But we think that actually something is going on, some story is happening, all that stuff is happening. We have to cry now, we have to laugh now. That's what we think. So in the same way, a lot of huge, enormous world is projected on this. And that projection is Bhava. In reality, what is it? It is Shiva. But what we see is Bhava. So that means when they took Bhava, what does it mean? It means that they want to keep the worldly reality with them. They don't want to rip everything apart and go to light. That's not what the Devas are trying to. Only a small rip opened. There is a potential to get a light of knowledge, but they are not ready to tear up everything and go and merge with light. They want to maintain their worldliness, worldly awareness and all that. But they want some protection from asuras. Right? Same thing with us too. Somebody had a bad experience, lost a job. So Durvasa. When they lost the job, they can fall to their old bad habits. They can just sit like a sloth in the couch, eat potato chips and watch TV and complain about it over and over, get depressed. You can do all those kind of things. Then it is not Durvasa. But the job loss created a new hope. They started acquiring skills. They started meditating more. They started studying Bhagavad Gita, things like that. So it opened up a new ray of hope. But they want to keep the world. But they want to conquer their own asuri tendencies. So they went to Narayana. Then a great vision came from Lord Narayana. But nobody could hear it. So effulgent light, but nobody could see it. They are blinded by light. They couldn't tell up and down, left and right, anything. But only Lord Brahma heard it. And then he re-narrated that to Devas. So what does that mean? It means that you cannot really get the light yourself. You have to hear it through Vedas, through an advisor, through a teacher, through a counsel. Okay, what was the advice? The advice was, when difficult times come, you cannot always fight with your foes. Sometimes fighting with your enemies is a good strategy, but not always. When you are in very difficult times, you better go make friends with your foes, friends with your enemies. But remember, what is the purpose of making friends? The Lord said, remember the story of snake and mouse. Anybody know the snake and mouse story? Okay. There was a snake. You know, the snake charmers, they catch the snake and put it in a basket. Have you seen any basket like that in YouTube videos? So, and to feed the snakes, they catch rat or mice and put them into the basket. So, and the snake will eat the rat and it will survive. So, one snake that was captured in this basket, it was fed with a rat now, it made friends with the rat. It said, let's become friends. You have a great talent. That talent is to make a hole through this basket. So you make a hole through the basket. Then the rat made a hole, and then the snake swallowed the rat and came out through the hole. So this is the technique that you have to use when you are making friends with asuras. If you don't understand the context of this, people will go, oh, this is betrayal, this is, you are, like a lot of people are there in India, they think that asuras are a particular group of people within India, a certain sect or a certain group of people. They say that our ancestors have misused us or betrayed us, this and like. This is none of those things. We're talking about asuras within us. We're talking about devas within us. So that means we have to use our hands as per the need. We have to use our body as per the need. We cannot park the body all the time. That's what a lot of people do. Oh, I am this body. I want to be happy. Therefore, I park the body all the time. Then you park the body on the couch all the time, what happens? All kinds of diseases, lifestyle, everything will come, right? I have the mind and I park the mind. I don't do anything with it. Just watch TV and soap opera and K-pop. What happens to the mind? It gets ruined, right? So you have to use the mind body as you need to meet your goal. But you cannot put it on the pedestal. You don't put the asuras on the pedestal. You use them only as per the need so that you overcome them. Eventually you have to overcome their power to enslave you, right? So that's what Bhagavan is telling. Okay, after making friends, then what? When you make friends, the Lord said, you go and bring a mount. There is a huge mountain named Mandara. What mountain is that? Mandara. So, and then there is this ocean, milk ocean. So, milk ocean, you can think of milk ocean. When I was a little child of your age, I dreamt about a planet filled with palkova or dudh pida, right? Where you can just eat it. It's like that. There is a milk ocean. You can just take a mug and drink it, make a few cookies. So it's not like that. But there is a milk ocean. That means ocean means endless. But it is filled with milk or milk-like thing. Payas or kshiram, right? And then you bring this Mandara mountain. You put it in the ocean, and then you take a great serpent named Vasuki. Vasuki is son of Kadruva, one of the sons of Kadruva. So bring Vasuki as the rope, and you tie it around, and you churn the ocean. But before you churn the ocean, you have to throw a few things in there. Kshiptva virat truna lata aushadhi. 4 things you have to throw. Virat means bushes. Truna means grass blades. Lata means all creepers. Aushadhis means herbal medicines, herbal stuff. You throw all these 4 into the ocean and you churn it. And when you churn it, immortality, the nectar of immortality will come. And then I will be there along the way to assist you. Whenever difficult things happen, I will be there to help you. And once you get the nectar, I will make sure that you only get it and the asuras don't get it. Because asuras should not be immortal. What happens if the body becomes immortal? All the bodily problems are going to haunt you forever. We don't want this stupid body to become immortal. We want to get rid of this. That's the lightness. But not now though. Your body is growing, you are building it. So build strength and build capability.
Death is a blessing actually.
So death, this is an important question. We'll come to that question. So why will take care of the asuras, make sure that asuras don't get the nectar of immortality, but you get it. But before you get anything, you will get a terrible poison called halahala. And don't be afraid of halahala. And not only that, as you churn, great wealths, great things will come. Jumps will come, great horses, divine things will come. Don't covet any of those. Don't greed for any of those. Okay, with this plan, you go ahead and do that. So Lord said, okay, they all said, agreed. And then they ran towards the Bali. King Bali was the ruler of all asuras at that time. You know who Bali is? Bali Chakravarti. Yeah?
Grandson of
Grandson of Prahlada. So they went to Bali, and then looking them from a distance, all the asuras and daityas became extremely excited. They took all their weapons and ready to shoot, because a battle was going on between them. And they said, no, don't worry. We just came here with a white flag. So let's talk about a truce. Okay, and they sat, and then Indra explained the plan in full detail. He didn't tell that, we're going to kill you later. Maybe he told, we don't know. But he explained the plan, and Bali thought, that's a reasonable thing. Yeah, we have Sanjeevani already. When we die, Sukracharya pours a few drops of Sanjeevani and we'll come back up. We are fine, but getting the nectar of immortality is even better. Right? We don't have to take this medicine every time we die. Right? We drink once and be all set. So they thought that's a good plan. And they decided to collaborate. So, and then immediately all these powerful Bali and all these people said, okay, we are going to pull apart this Mandara mountain. We will uproot it and we'll bring it. And they went and tried to pull, and they couldn't do it. Some people actually tried, but they got crushed underneath it and they died. So then they all prayed to Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu came with Garutman, the eagle, big bird, Suparna, and then he put it with left hand, lifted and put it on Garuda, and they brought it and parked it and next to the ocean. And then they went to Vasuki and said, we will give you a share in this great endeavor. They said, Vasuki, come on, you become the rope. He said, okay, you're giving me a share. What to complain about? So he came. And everything is set up now. And they tied the Vasuki around. And Devas, so Lord Vishnu took all the Devas and went and stood right next to the head of Vasuki. He was not touching it, but he stood there. Then Asuras looked at, oh, they have taken that position. That means we are left with the tail. They said, we're not going to touch the tail. It's a dirty aspect. That's where from the snake will excrete. So we're not going to touch that. We are all pious people. We did great yajnas. We did great tapasya. So we are not going to touch that part, definitely. We will only touch the head part. Then Lord Vishnu said, okay, up to you. And they all went and held the tail side. So Devas held the tail side. And Asuras held the Daityas, Danavas, they held the head side. And then they began churning. Okay? So this is the beautiful setup. There are so many new words. Milk ocean, Mandara mountain, Vasuki snake, and I also said 4 things have to be thrown into the ocean before churning and all that stuff. So let's understand little by little what this endeavor is. So this endeavor of churning something happens everywhere. When you have to make butter, what do? You haven't seen. You just go buy butter in Costco. But I think we know. How do you make, anybody know how we make butter? Yeah?
First you have to get the milk, and then you have to pour it out into some sort of churner, and you have to neatly twist it several times. Okay.
No,
For
not
Telugu,
the milk. First you boil the milk. Then you make a curd out of it. Tod betadam, that's what we call. You make yogurt out of it. And then you churn the yogurt until the butter clarifies and becomes like kind of floats in the buttermilk that you prepared. And then you take the butter. Right? So the churning process indicates making butter. What else? Have you seen any other churning process anywhere? Anybody?
Rubbu rolu, as if anybody can translate.
You don't call it churning process. You call it grinding process.
Okay. Also watch out for Krishna.
Watch out for Krishna when you are making butter?
Yes.
Not this Krishna. But we'll talk about that Krishna later. So anybody know any other churning process? Yeah?
Ice cream making, you have to churn the ice cream.
Okay. We're getting wild here. Okay. So let's go back in olden days. When you have to perform any yajna, you don't use matchsticks or any kind of fire created in that way. They do what is called Agni Mandhanam. Mandhanam means churning. Mandhanam means the stick that you use to churn. So here Mandara is what? Mandhanam. Mandaram is Mandhanam. So anyway, in that Agni Mandhanam, they have two specific type of pieces of wood. They are made of a particular tree. So there is one stick down here called Adhara Arani, and there is a vertical stick. They put it down and they churn it rapidly. So like probably you might have seen in even some Hollywood movies, they churn a stick to make fire, right? So until you create fire. So fire has to be created only that way using Jami and Chandra. Those are the two pieces of wood that you use, and you churn and you create fire that way. So that means when you do Manthanam, either you get butter, a clarified butter, which is the essence of milk, or you get fire. Fire is indication of knowledge. Fire is indication of offering, ultimate offering. So basically this Kshirasagara Mathanam, this churning process is churning our own awareness, our own mind basically. But our own mind contains all the wealth. That's what they are saying. Where is where is the nectar of immortality? It is not elsewhere in some other place. What the Lord is saying is the nectar of immortality is right within us, but not in the body though. Where is it? In the mind. Because if you churn the mind, that's where you get all the greatest insights. Where did all great inventions come from? Did Einstein go and dig up somewhere and opened up a little slip and found out all the truths? Cosmology. Where did he get them from? From his own mind?
By conducting thought experiments.
Well, okay, yeah. What is thought experiments? Conducting thought, what does that mean?
He basically visualized a scene within his mind to demonstrate his theory of
Like he
relativity.
created drama?
No, he created like an artificial world within his own mind, and he tried
He
to.
thought about it. He thought deeply, he contemplated, right? Like, there was a beautiful story, you might have heard it. When sewing machine was not invented, somebody, I don't know how his name, the inventor of the sewing machine, so whatever his name is, he was worried about solving the problem. How will you get the thread to go? Like, you can make these loops, but you need a thread to pass through. How to do it? He was thinking for several days, trying to find an engineering solution. One day in a dream, he was abducted by some tribals, and tribals were trying to poke him with long, long needles. But the needles have a little hole on the tip. So that was a dream he got. So all those needles, all these big needles, they have a little hole near the tip, like going through it. He woke up and said, bingo. And that's how he created. Like, have you seen the sewing machine needle? It has a hole in there. So all the solutions for all the questions are right where the question arose from. Where did the question come from? You had a question.
The brain.
It came not in the brain, in the mind.
Oh.
Brain is only the hardware. Mind is the whole universe that is running on top of this hardware. So mind is a virtual field. What is the difference between mind and brain? Can anybody give me a nice allegorical example? A lot of computer people here. Yeah.
The brain is just a lot of tissue matter, and it's
Krishna, allegorical example of hardware and software.
the brain is just the thing. It's just the material. It's just a big CPU. It just does all of the.
It is the CPU.
It just runs a bunch of programs and runs a marathon every day in the mind. But then the mind is actually the consciousness of
It's
the
the
computer.
operating system. Mind is the operating system in which you create enormous amount of applications. You can throw the whole universe. But brain is the actual hardware piece, the chip. So the problems come in the mind. Arising of the problems, finding all the calculations are done by the brain. Okay? So the same mind in which the problems arise, the solution is also there in the same mind. So mind is the problem, mind is the solution. Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo. Mind is the only reason why we get enslaved or we get liberated. All the problems and all the solutions are within the mind. So they are basically churning the mind. But to churn the mind, what did this scientist who invented the sewing machine did? He thought about it for 10 minutes and I don't want to do it and watch TV. What did he do? Until he found the solution, he kept thinking about it. What did Einstein do? Until he found the solution for his equations or whatever, he kept thinking about it. What do you call that? What do you call that?
Contemplating?
Yeah, but what do you call, what do you need to do that?
Meditation.
Resolve. Have you heard the word resolve? That resolve is mandara.
Willpower.
Yeah. You have a resolution. You want to do it until you reach the end goal. That resolve is mandara. Right? Mandara means man darati. Dara means to tear. One that rips the mind. But in order to do what? To pierce a hole through. So that is the resolve. If you don't have the resolve, you won't ask introspecting questions. Somebody encountered Durvasa. Terrible problem had befallen them. So they want to find a solution. Okay, I have a great problem. How will I solve this problem? So what do? They have to contemplate. They have to find the solution. Until they find the solution, they have to hold that resolve. If they can't hold the resolve, what happens? Their entire endeavor is wasted. So this process of churning requires, number one, a resolve. But what are they churning? The Kshirasagaram is our own mind. But we will not call it Kshirasagaram if it is filthy drainage. When do you call the mind Kshirasagaram? Kshira means milk, right? But milk is so pure and so nourishing. It has all the nourishments that we need. It's called Sampurna Aharam, complete food. Babies just drink milk, that's all, for 1 year. So because it has everything in it. So that means our mind has to be pure, nourishing and refreshing. Only then you will call it Kshira Sagara. Otherwise, you might call it, can anybody cleverly throw a useful word here?
Bhavasagara.
Kshara Sagara. Kshara means salty. All the oceans that we see, what are they? You can't drink a sip of water from that. There's ocean, so much water. But what good is? You can't drink anything out of it. Have you seen any similarity between Kshira and Kshara?
Instead of E, it's R.
That's the oval difference, right? Do you remember me telling a word, something very similar to this in the past?
There are many.
I'll give a hint. Mother Saraswati. Sharada. So a word Sharada, and we talked about something Shira. Shara and Shira. Shira means to break it down into pieces. Shara means to integrate it. Right? So here, when we come to Kshira and Kshara, when you have a clear mind, you can separate good from bad. Clearly, it is Kshira. When you mix up everything, good and bad, and everything becomes relative. My bad is that man's good. So that kind of relativity, if you talk about, that means you are meddling everything, you're mixing up everything. Then it becomes Kshara. So Kshara Sagara is representation of this messy world. Kshira Sagara is a clear picture of the world. You have a clear picture of the world. When will you have clear picture of the world?
When your mind is stiff and unmovable and calm.
Steady and calm, yeah. So, but a steady, good mind can be created by good habits, lots and lots of good habits and all that. So we'll have Kshira Sagara. And only when you churn Kshira Sagara, you will have a chance of getting nectar of immortality. If you go and churn Kshara Sagara, garbage foam and comes. Nothing useful will come, right? So we talked about now a few symbolisms, but I haven't made progress into the story. I'll come back and talk about few more symbolisms. So we have to have clear mind. Clear mind means a mind that can discriminate between good and bad, a mind that knows what can be true, what can be untrue, what should we take personally, what should we not take personally, what should we work on, what should we not work. All those clarity is there. A good mind, a good and innocent mind is also Kshetrasagara. Pure, sincere mind is also Kshetrasagara. But you need to have a resolve in order to churn it, to find a solution for the problems of life or problem of life. And that requires Vasuki, and also we need to throw a few things into the ocean. What are those 4 things I said?
Aushadhi,